Got the black shirts.
Got the black shirts matching.
Black shirts, very important for YouTube. Yep. Struggling with some allergies. Finger being cut by razors.
All right, well, on this episode, we wanted to talk a little bit about kind of what we've been doing. Some of the, we're having trouble getting this thing off the ground a little bit. Not trouble, but just we're trying to find a lane, trying to figure out what's going on, how to be consistent.
And how to find the time. Somewhat,
exactly.
it's you're painting a house. I'm working a lot. There's
bad call.
Yep,
don't paint your own house. Just don't.
And I'm not being very helpful to him.
Well, no, I mean I'm saving a lot of money, but it's taking a lot of time for sure. And so trying to figure out how to be consistent. And one of the things I was thinking, instead of trying to make these such a big production, is to just refer to some of the stuff we've been working on, and then we can kind of plug in some footage because we've been working on stuff for sure.
Yeah, so I was in Tybee Island, Georgia, a couple weeks ago. Borrowed his drone, Mavic Mini, took that up. A little nervous about, I didn't want to crash someone else's drone, but I have a little experience with them from one that we have at work, but not a lot. So I got a little comfortable with that, ran it around there, so we'll show maybe some of that footage. Some of it came out, I think, really good. I mean,
I got the Mavic Mini 1, and I bought it on eBay for $200, so it was not a big loss if it went down.
Still.
But I got the update on the firmware, so you can really control some stuff. It's really cool, and the images I think look pretty dang good.
Yeah, I wasn't controlling I was like in automatic.
I saw the ISO do its thing when it went up.
Yeah, I put it in.
That's cool.
I put it in cinematic mode, so it was just flying slower because it was too jerky when I first used it.
Tell me about the backwards. Was that a reversal of the forwards?
Maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, dude, he is flying it bawards like a master.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I just reversed the footage in Premiere, so I'm not so cool.
Well, you're pretty cool. Tell me about what the challenges were flying there. You said it was pretty windy?
Very windy. I was getting the wind warnings on the remote, so and I brought it in a couple days just because I just didn't want to risk it getting smashed because we were staying on a marsh, and there was no way I could have recovered it. Even if it was visible, I could have crashed it, and I could have seen it, and there's no way I could have walked out there and gotten it. So, and that would have been hard to take. It's like, it's right there.
Yeah, exactly. There would have been no way to get out there to it at all. And then you were staying on the marsh, but the beach was 15 minutes away. Mm-hmm. Took it out there, and super windy, right? Didn't you say it was?
I didn't fly it at the beach because it was way too windy.
Yeah. That little one definitely can't take the wind, but so much, that's for sure.
It was blowing people's shelters down and stuff. I mean, it was even for the beach. It was windy those days. So by then I got some footage with the gimbal, the DJI Ronin RS2, that was really good with this camera, with the Z6, that was next level. I mean, the low light on this camera is really good.
It's incredible. The detail on the shadows, it was blowing my mind.
And
that was 4K or no?
Perfect. No, I did it. It was 1080 because I was shooting at 60 or 120. So yeah, this doesn't do 120 or it doesn't do 60 even in 4K. So experimented with that, and then I tried a time lapse trying to get a sunset another night, and set something wrong, and so I got a lot of nothing. The gimbal did its thing, and it moved along the track, and I was like all happy watching it move. And then the sun went down, everything was cool, and I went back to review the footage, and there was nothing
at all.
Mm-mm. Oh, man. So I've been meaning to go back and do that, experiment with that and get it right, but I haven't had the chance. Maybe this evening I'll do that or something.
Well, you took the camera downtown, Savannah, and did some photography as well.
A little bit, yeah. Just that Sunday we were coming back, went to get brunch, shot a few shots there. So yeah,
good shots. That's a great place to take photos for sure. And that, again, it shows how excellent that camera does with stills as well.
To me, yeah, I keep saying, man, Sony is like the thing for video, but for photography, nah. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
So this to me is a good kind of balance between the two, you know, as they say, hybrid. And I think the Sonys do outpace the Nikon Z series, but in terms of video, autofocus and whatnot. But yeah, in terms of photos, and the new Z system is the lenses are absolutely amazing. And I find that I've been just using my primes. I did rent a 70-200 2.8 for my daughter's prom and graduation pictures, and those are amazing. So that makes me kind of want to get into the 2.8 zooms. Like they are prohibitively expensive, though, of course, professional zooms. So I can't bring myself to spend over $2,000 on one lens right now. So in fact, the 70-200, even on sale, I think is $2,300, so $2,200. So.
But man, what a great!
And I mean, this 35 that we use for these video shoots, it just works for me for just about everything. I mean, I use this exclusively when we were in St. Augustine. Took a bunch of shots down there. That everything I did there was on this lens.
Those St. Augustine photos are fantastic too. You got some great stuff.
And I mean, I love the 50, but for me, the 35 just works. And on film, I tend to shoot a lot on 28 millimeter. I just don't have. They don't have a 28 for this. So 35, they've got a 20, a 24, and a 35. So they're supposed to be coming out with a 28, but they don't have it yet. So the 35 really works for me. So
part of why I wanted to talk about this stuff is because, you know, this whole idea of creativity and being creative, especially when you have short chunks of time to do it, you just got to jump on the opportunities. And so you went for a relaxing weekend with your wife to Tybee Island, but you spent a little time actually creating content instead of just consuming. And that's what I want us to encourage each other and whoever to do, is to create, you know, to keep creating, even if it's not the best thing you've ever done.
I think we both always do that, because every time you go on a vacation or something, you've got the camera out doing videos at parties at your house, you know. So yeah, it's I think we both tend to do that too.
It keeps that fire burning, and we, you know, there's various types of creativity, and like we've kind of focused in on here, video, photos, and music stuff. And lately, for me, I went to my niece, my brother's daughter's 14th birthday. I brought my M50 and a cheap zoom lens, and just was trying to capture some memories for my niece. And it was really kind of interesting to watch these kids. They seemed like they really were friends, you know, and they were hanging out, and boys and girls and the whole nine. And so I was able to capture some of that stuff, which was really cool, and got some good photos as well. I used that cheap zoom, and then I used a Sigma 35, and that's a beautiful lens as well.
Is that a 1.8?
Yeah. Yep. And so that thing is gorgeous. But so that was fun to do, and again, it was a creative outlet. The trick, of course, is finding the time to edit stuff and whatever. I just did a photo dump for her for all the pictures that I took, so she could share them with her friends and stuff. But I want to put together a little video for her for memory's sake. And one of the things I ended up doing too was I took my GoPro and just turned it on and handed it to the kids. Oh, nice. And so they ran around and were like doing...
Sort of like the old weddings, you give them
bunch of the, you get some good candid stuff that way. So that was fun. And part of what I want to do with this creative stuff is to create something that's going to last longer than me, you know? And so some of these like family video stuff that I tend to do, hopefully that'll be something that my grandkids will look back at, you know? So again, I want to keep putting stuff out, hopefully that it'll have a longer life.
Right. Well, like, you know, I think I told you my dad had been scanning all the slides from when he was a kid, my grandfather's stuff, and all the pictures from the basically from the late 40s, you know, to the 70s, when it seems like my grandparents just didn't take many pictures anymore when they got older. But yeah, tons and tons of photos from then, and so he's scanned all of those.
That's important work.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's not the greatest quality or anything, but you know, I see people that I haven't seen for years. Most of the people in the pictures are dead. All my you know, grandparents and their generation are all, you know, gone in the 90s and 2000s. And but yeah, have those coming up on my screen on my Mac in the house, and it's pretty neat to see those.
It's very cool.
And then we've done the same with our, photos, because I shot on film like everybody up until I think Tori was born, so 2003. Everything was filmed. So my wife took most of our pictures and took boxes and boxes of them and just sent them off and had them scanned, because we just haven't had the time to do it ourselves. So we've got all those scanned, all our videotapes, from VHS to the high 8 and the.
I've got to do that. I think mine. Yeah,
we've got a bunch of that. Our wedding video, I finally got that digitally now, so we don't, have to, because who has a VCR anymore?
Right,
so.
right. Well, and for scanning, an easy way to scan. My daughter turned me on to this Google Scan.
Yeah, I've seen some of your photos have that at the bottom.
It's pretty crazy, because the way it does it is it stitches a bunch of photos together to make it, and so that you don't get any of the glare from.
And it was the one you sent me yesterday that I used in the video was high res too. I was surprised. I was like, crazy. Oh, this is going to be smart, and it wasn't. It was
when Annabelle
great
told
quality.
me that, I was like, what? That can't be. And she's like, no, trust me. And you do it, and then it's like, wow, and it's free. It's Google Scan. So
yeah, I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it for not mission critical stuff. But even like you said, it's the high res when you do it. So.
Well, on the subject of scanning, with my film stuff, I don't do that a lot simply because it's cost prohibitive, but I still shoot film along with the digital. So in St. Augustine, I had actually brought 2 film cameras with me, and had I had my Nikon FE with me at Tybee Island too. So I kind of alternate, so I won't bring both cameras with me. So I'll either have film or digital typically. So. Because I don't want to be the guy with all these cameras. Right. I mean, but
and it's a different mindset anyway, right?
Absolutely different. But again, I always go. I tend to go with the 28, which is a 2.8. So it's good for when you have a decent amount of light. And of course, with film, you're restricted to whatever ISO your film is. So, and again, I'm not trying to shoot 1 million photos a day, because every time you shoot a roll, it's effectively for a decent roll of film, it's $8-10, and then it costs you money to develop it, whether you send it off or do like I do and develop it here. You still have to pay for chemicals, and then you still have to scan and all that. So
we're going to get into that.
Yeah, that'll be the subject of another one. So I've got a bunch saved up that I haven't developed. I haven't developed any in months for this, so we can actually have a video of developing color in black and white. I have not developed color using the 2-step process that I have now, so we'll see how that goes. I've been doing all black and white for several years. But.
I'm excited to watch that process happen. That's going to be cool, especially because, just as fascinating scientifically, but you don't know what's on. You don't even hardly know what's there, right?
And as I proved too, you can ruin a roll really easily just by I misloaded my reel one time, and when I pulled it out, it was just striped and wrecked. Totally. None of the developer got on it, and it got exposed to the light, and it was just nothing. So
that's got to be frustrating.
So you're burning up a $10 bill pretty easy there. But
well, let's talk about music. What you been listening to music wise or working on?
So with guitar, I've still been working on some of the alternate tuning stuff, DADGAD and Open G, Open D, doing a lot of Celtic stuff that I've just always liked for some reason.
Now you haven't gotten any of that captured on video yet, have you?
Not
to
yet,
share
not
with.
yet. And I've been working on a couple, trying to get in the. I've never used alternate tunings until I bought my Taylor a couple of years ago, and I never even tried it. Someone would hand me a guitar if it wasn't in standard tuning. I'd be like, nope.
Hand it back.
Yeah. But now I'm trying to get myself in that mindset, so I've been working on a couple tunes in DADGAD that are, rock tunes or whatever, just arrangements of those, and those are coming along, but I won't say great, but they're coming along. So.
Well, you need to set up camera and capture some of that, because you never know. Because, again, trying to create content, and we're trying to learn this thing, and one of the avenues that I find interesting and useful is TikTok, and we've been bouncing TikToks back and forth, and that's one of those things that I think a lot of people misunderstand what TikTok is.
Yeah.
But now that I'm kind of down the rabbit hole, it's pretty amazing.
I think it is. Yeah.
The algorithm really kind of hones in on what it is that what you like.
Rabbit hole, as cliche as that is, it really is, because I find myself sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and grab my phone. I'm going to check TikTok, and next thing I know, my wife's like, "You got to be at work. What are you doing?" You know, I'm just laying there like scrolling and scrolling. I mean, it's
I saw somebody
addictive.
talking about how there's that little dopamine hit. It's like there's always, let me
Right.
just try one more.
What's
Just
the
one
next
more.
one?
It
What's
could be
the
the best thing ever.
Yep.
But it's fascinating because it's short, you know, which I think is cool, and there's a really big community of musicians.
Right. I struggle so much with the 1 minute thing though. Trying to some of those tunes I was telling you about. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna record this for TikTok," but struggle to get them down to a minute. You know.
Well, there is 3 minutes now. Just
Is
so
it?
you know. Yep.
Okay,
They've got
well,
a 3 minute option.
then I'm good.
So yeah, you should be fine. But I decided to challenge myself to do it because I wanted to set it up in my
cool.
spot where I could do it just when the time was right and I had a few minutes, go pick it up and go, not a bunch of setup.
Right.
And so in my little lab over there, I put my M50 sideways, and there's a guy named Evan Marion, and Benny Greb is the drummer.
Yeah, he's great.
And
I didn't realize he was doing stuff on TikTok. But
yeah,
I know him from
and there's
YouTube.
not a whole lot on there if you dig around. Not on TikTok yet, but this Evan Marion guy is really cool and super talented bass player. And so I saw a thing where they did a bass and drum part, and I was like, and it was really cool. And I just kept listening to it over and over. And I was like, well, I'll try to make up a guitar part for it, you know, and see what happens. And man, part of the struggle we've been talking about is knowing I know I can do this, but right now I can only do this, and it's so frustrating to listen back to it. It's like, what's but I tried and I played it over and over and over and over, and I finally kind of came up with something that was okay. But it's just that rhythmic stuff, you know. It for me, it goes away if I don't. You know, my sensitivity to it is the same. I can tell when I'm playing out of time, but I can't get my synchronization right. So, but anyway, I came up with a little something that's kind of cool. They didn't make their TikTok shareable or duetable.
Oh.
So I just recorded the audio and then just recorded myself playing over that.
I guess they're a lot more free with TikTok in terms of copyright and all that too, right? Because I see or maybe it's all licensed for them, because I mean you can grab just about anything you can think of to use behind your TikToks.
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of struggling with that. The video I put together yesterday, you know, I actually recorded a couple more things, and I was thinking about putting them on there as sort of B-roll or bonus footage or whatever, but it was like it was cover, so I was kind of afraid to put them on YouTube.
Oh, you've got some stuff of
just little snippets of a couple things, but I was like,
say do it, man.
Yeah, but you don't want to get taken down,
flagged or whatever.
Right? Yeah. So
well,
I don't know how that works.
We've got like 27 views,
Woo!
so yeah, we don't want to stifle that at all.
Yeah, that's pretty huge.